The Sports Source Saturday Kickoff is presented by Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive and by the Garza Law Firm.
I honestly think Alabama has bigger problems defensively than Tennessee does offensively right now.
The loser of Alabama-Tennessee will also have 2 losses and face a very, very narrow path into the playoff field.
Huge opportunity with those guys on campus to recruit him in person for the Vols to make a big impression on one of the top players in the country.
Hearing from Amari Thomas from just the fact that he feels that line specifically is just so in sync right now.
Tennessee's challenge will be made more difficult because they're going to be without their middle linebacker, Keenan Teely.
The opportunity is there for some of those big plays, and who knows, maybe it's just 1 or 2 that kind of unlocks this offense a little bit.
I would almost take Dylan Sampson on this.
Yeah.
Just give him some help. Just give Dylan Sampson some help. Yeah. This goes over.
Saturday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. We are here at Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. By we, that is VFL Ollie Lane. That is VFL Kevin Simon. I'm John Pennington, but you're here for those guys. I know that. We've also got 13 more people on the show today. Rusty Wallace Kia, I can't thank them enough for having us down here every single week. I have bought 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles down here, 4 Sorrentos, a Telluride. I've got friends who drive the Optima. I've got friends who own a Sportage. One has the EV6. All these are great looking cars. All of them run great. Rusty Wallace Kia, they'll take good care of you. And here's the beauty of Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. You bring them any offer on a new Kia from anywhere in the country, they'll beat it. That's saying something. So don't waste money. Come to Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. All right, this segment of our show, we call it What's the Story? It's the main storyline. Look, the main storyline is always going to be your quarterback. It's what people talk about. Last week we started with some stuff that were out there, and I'll let you go true or false. We've done segments on the offensive line. They keep coming up. Let's just start with what everybody's talking about. Nico Iamaleava. I think he has regressed a little bit from the first 3 games to now. All right, you don't take Kent State and Chattanooga out of it, but I think he's looked a little bit more – he's lost a little confidence in my opinion. I think he's starting to miss high a little bit. It's one thing to watch today. Typically guys are missing high. It means they've taken a lot of hits and they're starting to watch the rush a little bit. If he has regressed at all, is it a product of 13 sacks already and running for his life half the time? And if so, how do you rebuild that? Ollie Lane, I'll start with you since you were on the offensive line last year.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, I don't see it as much as he's taken a step back or anything. I think it's just the competition's taking a step up. Anytime you get into SEC competition, it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be more difficult to find comfort, and he's a young quarterback still developing. I think for the most part, he's done a better job. I think he settled in a lot better in that second half against Florida than obviously the first half. But he's continuing to just develop, get more and more comfortable with what his processes are and everything. And I think, too, just with the adversity of all the injuries to some of his key performers around him has put a hindrance on what all is available to him. But, I mean, I think in the long run, it's not anything to worry about. Nico's going to be Nico. He's going to be a talented quarterback in this league. And I think just for now, it's just getting used to the level of competition that is in the SEC.
Well, and you see young quarterbacks get better from year 1 to year 2. I had somebody this week send me a note that's like, well, he doesn't compare to Arch Manning. It's like, well, I'll tell you what, let's put Nico on Texas team and bring Arch Manning over here, and we'll see how good Arch Manning looks, and we'll see if Nico doesn't look better on a team that's got tons of weapons that are all firing at the right time right now, best protection in the league. All that plays into it. When you look, though, at a quarterback like Nico, let's say things don't go well today. All right, now it's possible that today's the day you connect on a couple of deep balls, crowd gets behind you, all good. But let's go the other way. Let's say it's a strip sack in the first half, offense hasn't moved, crowd's booing you like they did the second series last week. Is there any point where, as a coach, you take him out for his benefit? Or does that absolutely destroy his confidence and you can't do it?
I think, number one, for a coach, you're going to play the guy that gives you the best chance to win. And there's no doubt that Nico definitely gives you the best chance to win, even if things aren't going well. But to the point of, well, do you take him out or you leave him in? I mean, it's just a matter of perspective. I mean, you can take him out, and work with him, and he'll be just fine in the future. Or you can leave him in and
work through it.
Yeah, let him work through it, and he'll be just fine in the future. But I think at the end of the day, some of the war wounds and some of the scars that you take on now, well, failure's fertilizer. It enables you to grow, just like how fertilizer is to the grass. It helps you to grow. So, you got to lose sometimes, and just to be able to grow a little bit. So the biggest problem I see is we don't have an identity on offense. We don't. The one thing that we can hang our hat on is Dylan Sampson. Other than that, this offense is unrecognizable from 2022. So I think from a coaching standpoint, understand the player strengths in running plays and concepts to where you can maximize them, even with your limitations on the offensive line. I like that they moved the pocket. Nico did settle in, like you said, Ollie, in the second half of that game and found some QB-friendly throws. At least it's close. Big miss to Chaz Nimrod, but other than that, we're talking about this close. So they're near misses. I think he'll be better in the future.
What you don't want is you don't want a David Carr somebody. Now, he's not getting hit as much as David Carr did in the pros. He's the poster boy for this is how to ruin a quarterback.
Like 60 times.
Yeah. But he never got over it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get to that point. But I do think it's amazing how many people somehow think that Nico Iamaleava is a finished product already. It's like this will be his 8th game today. That is not a finished product. And if you go look at Joe Burrow, the jump he made at LSU from the first year as a starter, and he was a junior, to what he looked like as a senior. You go back, Hendon Hooker was even better as a senior than he was as a junior here. And that's a guy who came in having played several years at Virginia Tech before that.
Yeah, so the biggest thing with Joe Burrow, when you talk about his time at Ohio State versus when he finally went to LSU, two of the biggest weapons he had Justin Jefferson, and he had
it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But they had an identity. They knew what they were. He had protection on the offensive line, and he was in ultimate command. Whether it was getting himself protected. Hey, all right, wait. You know what? Because most, most pass protections are built to slide to the field, right? Hey, Larry, slide is one of the boundary because I see that safety creeping up, right? So, just from the standpoint of understanding the game from the neck up, that's where a young quarterback can really improve. And then just reps, accuracy, having your feet in sync, all those types of things that Coach Heupel and staff are working on.
Very good. All right, tell you what, let's do a quick scouting report with Jimmy Himes. Jimmy, take it away.
Thanks, John. There are 3 things to know about Alabama. First off, their quarterback, Jalen Milroe, leads the SEC in pass efficiency. He's completed 73% of his passes, but he might even be more dangerous with his legs than his arm. He has rushed for 11 touchdowns, which is second in the SEC to Dylan Sampson. Also, he ran for 117 yards against Georgia. Now, the last 2 games, he's only got 46 yards against South Carolina and Vanderbilt, but still, containing Milroe is going to be a key for Tennessee, and Tennessee's challenge will be made more difficult because they're going to be without their middle linebacker, Keenan Teeley. Ryan Williams, freshman receiver, he's outstanding. He's averaging 25 yards a catch. He had a game-winning catch against Georgia. He's got 6 touchdown receptions. I'm interested in watching the matchup between him and McCoy from Tennessee. That is one to watch. McCoy's not on Williams. It'll be interesting to see how Tennessee defends him. Thirdly, Alabama's defense. They have not been that good lately. They gave up 34 points to Georgia, and Georgia had over 500 yards. Vanderbilt had 40 points and over 400 yards. And even South Carolina, with their anemic offense, got 25 points against Georgia. It'll be interesting to see if Tennessee can take advantage of the vulnerable defense of Alabama and find its offensive footing. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. We have a ton of people on today's show, and they're going to be bringing you all kinds of information. We're going to be covering topics left, right, up, down, you name it. Here is just a taste of some of the people who will be on today's show and some of what they'll be covering.
I'm Josh Ward. We'll preview Tennessee, Alabama by tackling some over-under bets.
I'm David Ubben, and I'll tell you why the SEC looks like it might get quite a few fewer teams in the playoff field than it initially looked earlier in the season.
I'm Ryan Callahan, and I'll catch you up on a few of the players who will be in for a huge recruiting weekend for Tennessee.
And I'm Paige Dower, and we'll give you 3 reasons why we believe Tennessee can beat Alabama later today.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville. The Vols are off to a hot start, so we're rolling out the hottest deals of the year. You could score a 2025 Kia Sportage for $249 a month, or you could drive home a 2024 Kia Sorento for $267 a month. Are you looking to go bigger? You could ride high in style in a 2024 Kia Telluride for $379 a month. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and make your way to Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
For 4 generations, A.G. Hines Company has been a pillar of the Knoxville community. And since Albert Hines Sr. opened our doors back in 1920, we've been supplying do-it-yourselfers with revolutionary products and tools. Manufactured stone is lighter, more cost-effective than traditional stone, featuring greater consistency of material and quicker installation times. Cutting-edge materials and tools at affordable prices. That's what we've provided for more than a century at A.G. Hines Company.
I was coming home and a lady hit me head on. It totaled my car, it fractured my right heel, and it bruised me up really badly. The Garza Law Firm, they were very compassionate, but yet they were very detailed. They didn't let me down. They never stopped fighting. It helped me regain confidence in law firms. I would definitely recommend the Garza Law Firm.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like G3 John boats, Gator Tough. These rugged boats are durable and dependable, season after season. Center or side console, storage boxes. Custom design your boat for your needs. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he became an agent to make sure someone is fighting for you. Shop insurance now. See how Chris can give you peace of mind and save you some money. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
Every Sunday morning, The Sports Source brings you 90 minutes of honest, intelligent Vols coverage. More analysts, more topics, more fun. The Sports Source, Sundays at 11 on WATE TV6 and WATE.com.
Make sure to stay on Channel 6 all day today because there are plenty of games you'll want to keep up with. The day starts with an ACC clash between number 6 Miami and Louisville. And then at 3:30, it's the third Saturday in October. Number 7 Alabama against 11th ranked Tennessee. The Vols look to win their second straight home game against the Crimson Tide. Finally, the night concludes with a top 5 matchup between Georgia and Texas. And of course, we'll have our SEC wrap-up show recapping everything after that game. John.
Thanks, Reese. Hey, if you're getting together with friends today to watch the Tennessee game and all the other games on Channel 6, what you need to do is head to your package store first, if you're 21. Pick up a 4-pack, an 8-pack, or mini packs of Freshie. It's organic tequila mixed with seltzer, 3 popular flavors. Get down there and grab it. Freshie. We keep Freshie at the Bandit Lights Bar, as a matter of fact, and that's where we're going now. It's a segment with Paige Dower, Bob Hodge, Vince Ferrara, Dave Hooker. We call it The 3 Reasons.
Thanks, John. Well, the Tennessee Volunteers, they've not looked their best these last couple of weeks. So our assignment this week, guys, is to talk about the 3 reasons why we believe Tennessee can beat Alabama later this afternoon. And I think we have to start with Tennessee's run defense specifically. They're 5th in the FBS. They're only giving up under 3 yards per carry, 80 yards in a game. And I think they've been able to continue that this season. Specifically, I think it's Omar Norman-Lott. He really has taken the lead, especially on that defensive line. He has 2.5 sacks this season, and I think that's where they'll have success against the dual threat and Jalen Milroe as well.
Yeah, Tennessee's been great with tackles for loss, run defense, one of the better run defenses in all of college football. So, you know, Alabama with their overall run game, middle of the pack around the country, 51st. But, you know, some of that is Jalen Milroe, which still counts in the run game. But if they can keep Alabama's running backs from going off, and then it doesn't set them up with a play action, I think that's the Tennessee's advantage. They've been great, even especially in short yardage.
They have. I think there are 2 running games that you kind of have to watch, and one of the called runs, which Vince, you talked about, and some of those are going to include Jalen Milroe, who's one of the most impactful athletes, physical, talented. He can run the football at quarterback. However, I also think he's pretty dangerous when he breaks the pocket. So Tennessee to this point has played good gap discipline. There's no Keenan Pili now as he's out for the year, so I think that draws that a little bit into question. But if they can continue to do that, Bob, I think that they can contain Milroe, which ultimately is going to be key.
Well, and that's in years past, Tennessee's been hurt by this kind of quarterback. I think Milroe obviously is going to be the best dual threat that you've seen so far, but I think your defensive line, with the group you got, with the rotation, with being able to keep guys fresh, I'm not as worried about Milroe, and I think he is probably a full third of their running game, if not more.
He does lead the team in carries, so.
So if you keep him contained, I think that goes a long way into slowing Alabama's offense down. I think that could make them one-dimensional. And then, Paige, I think if you make their offense one-dimensional and you can get them off the field with Tennessee's offense struggling, that could be the key to the whole thing, is you've just got to keep them from getting out and scoring, what's the number, 20 points?
Yes,
Do
yeah.
that and you win.
Yeah, and I think when we had a chance to talk to the team earlier this week, hearing from Amari Thomas and just the fact that he feels that line specifically is just so in sync right now, and you can tell with the way that they're playing. They really do have a nice rhythm about them, and I think that could be pivotal in this game.
Sure.
I'll add this too. Effort, I think that is key because Tennessee is so good in the red zone. I don't know that Jalen Milroe's not going to break off a 60-yard run. Probably will at some point, but it'd be awfully nice to push him out of bounds at the 5, given what Tennessee's done against the goal line.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If he breaks off a 60-yard run, okay, fine. But in the past, like I said, against some running quarterbacks, you saw him break off a 60-yard run, a 15-yard run, a 20-yard run, and the next thing you know, you've had a quarterback that's ran for 140 yards.
Well, and then that opens things up for Ryan Williams and those wide receivers if they're able to do that. So that's why it's so key, kind of like head of the snake type of thing with the Tennessee run defense.
I also think another reason this is a chance for Tennessee's offense to get clicking, as Alabama's pass defense really is not that good, Dave.
They're middle of the pack. They're 8th in the SEC. They also don't particularly put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They're also middle of the pack, tied for 7th and just over 2 sacks per game. And that may end up being too many, and Tennessee makes teams that don't have a lot of sacks look like they have a lot of sacks. So I think that's a concern. But still, I mean, it's not a weakness, but it's a slight bit of vulnerability, the fact that they're not elite at rushing the passer and that they have given up a lot of yards in the air.
Well, and another thing I'm going to come back to is Dylan Sampson, who before the season I thought Dylan Sampson replacing Jalen Wright, okay, he's a good running back, but he's not going to be the kind of running back that Jalen Wright. I think I'm being proven wrong a little bit. He's showing a lot of power. Down near the goal line, he's almost being unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's carrying guys like Wright did last year. And so I think if Tennessee gets him going early, then that's going to make your offense all around a lot better.
Well, you would think it would set them up. They have almost as many rushing touchdowns this year already than they did all of last year. The 23 rushing touchdowns, they're sitting at 20 right now. That should open things up in the pass game. And that's what this offense is missing, is those explosive plays. Bama has given up a bunch of those and given them up to, let's be honest, lesser teams than what they're seeing in Tennessee. We just haven't seen Tennessee execute it. But the opportunity is there for some of those big plays. And who knows, maybe it's just one or two that kind of unlocks this offense a little bit, and maybe the offensive line can
well, and then you go back to, talking a little bit more about Dylan Sampson. They haven't seen a back like him this year. And even though maybe I'm grading him too high, when people were talking about, obviously in the past, Nico and Heisman Trophy, I kept thinking, where's Dylan Sampson and somebody talking about that? So
yeah, he almost has 700 yards on the ground this season.
Yeah, and how many touchdowns?
15.
So far?
Yeah, going in against Florida, he had more rushing touchdowns than the entire run unit did as a team for Florida. So I think that's a good third reason why Tennessee might be able to beat Alabama on Saturday. But after the break, we're going to send it over to Kevin, Ollie, and John. He will describe the loss of Keenan Peely, how the team is dealing with that, and then how dangerous of a threat Jalen Milroe can be.
folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville. You hear lots of offers with insane prices, unbelievable trade-in promotions, and crazy gimmicks. But aren't you tired of all that noise? Look, at Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, our message is simple. We'll beat any dealership's price on any new Kia, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, period. If you don't buy your new Kia on Callahan Drive, you'll pay too much. Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Safety Systems, East Tennessee's top provider of home automation, security, and life safety systems.
Home and commercial security.
Camera surveillance systems specifically designed for your property. Professional monitoring, complete with emergency and after-hours response and repair. Burglar alarms for all access points. Upgrade your home or business with a single phone call to Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in home and commercial security systems for more than 20 years.
Whether you're watching the big game or your favorite movie, Games and Things is your ticket to the best seat in the house. It's time to get rid of that old, worn-out recliner and replace it with home theater seating from Games and Things. We offer the largest selection of quality seats at the best price in East Tennessee. With an endless variety of styles, configurations, and options, you are sure to find that perfect seat. Stop by Games and Things to upgrade your seats today at the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Online at ourgameroom.com. Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun.
From family heirlooms to sports memorabilia, protect and showcase your treasures with custom frames and shadow boxes, each with a lifetime guarantee. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
So many people get their insurance through an app these days, but are you getting the best deal, the coverage you need? And when you really need that coverage, who's fighting for you? All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
3 recruits to watch for Tennessee this weekend, and with the Vols hosting another massive group of visitors for this game against Alabama, we're going to talk about some of the visitors the Vols will have in, including a couple of official visitors in the 2025 class. We'll start with a big-time player that Tennessee's been involved with for a while, 4-star defensive lineman Isaiah Campbell out of Durham, North Carolina. He's a former Clemson commitment, reopened his recruitment last month. Ever since then, Tennessee has looked like maybe the slight favorite and maybe even increasingly the team to beat here going into this weekend. Big opportunity for Tennessee this weekend to potentially land Campbell. He's a top 50 prospect nationally. We'll see if he takes other visits after this weekend and where else he might go, but Tennessee has been well positioned, and this is certainly a huge opportunity for them with a big game atmosphere to showcase this weekend. Another guy that they've been looking to flip for a while and finally will get back on campus, Austin Howard, a Mississippi State linebacker commitment from Bartlett just outside Memphis, and he is currently weighing a few options. Vanderbilt might be the main threat to Mississippi State right now, but Tennessee's been in there for a while. We'll get him back on campus this weekend on an official visit. And then among the long list of 2026 targets Tennessee will have in town, 5-star tight end Kendra Harrison out of North Carolina, a big-time Tennessee target who's been on campus a few times already, knows guys like David Sanders and Faison Brandon who are already committed to Tennessee. So huge opportunity with those guys on campus to recruit him in person for the Vols to make a big impression on one of the top players in the country, regardless of position in the 2026 class. John, back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Welcome back to Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. This segment we call Checking the List, and it's basically the checklist of anything on the offense or defense that we think needs to be worked on. There's 2 things that I'm concerned about this week on our checklist. Number 1, you lose Keenan Peely, which is a bad break for him. He looks like he was a really good player, leading tackler, 29. He's also the guy who gets you lined up properly. And with his age and his experience, it's like having a coach on the field. That's number 1 on my list. How much are they going to miss Keenan Peely, the player? How much are they going to miss Keenan Peely, the guy who lines you up correctly?
Yeah, I really think from a communication standpoint, obviously you're gonna miss him, his voice. It's like Mama's voice. Hey, John, hey, everything's gonna be okay.
That's right,
you
Mama.
know, hey, listen, hey, that front kicks, the tight ends trade, those defensive line guys are like, what's going on? It's like, hey, kick left, kick left. Oh, Mama's voice. You know, so they're gonna miss that part.
Yeah.
But you're gonna miss the player more so. His ability to fit the runs, his ability to be an eraser on the second level. Your T-Lander, it will be good, but there's a reason why we say next man up mentality. It's a mentality. Mm-hmm. It's not a reality because better is better. It's just like Aiden Hutchinson, right? There's no replacing that.
You can't replace it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're not going to replace Peely, but I think between T-Lander, the guys they'll be able to do it a little justice.
You agree? Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's what this defense has been able to pride themselves on, is building that depth, and I think they've done that, especially at this linebacker position. It's a huge hit that Peely's not going to be able to be there with you guys, with them for the rest of this year. He's a big asset to that team, but I think he'll even be a bigger asset now as an off-the-field position, helping those guys be mentally and physically prepared each week. So,
got second thing on my list. I was like, you got, when the third thing on your list is Ryan Williams, that's a rough lift. But second thing on my list, and that's what we're going to get to, Jalen Milroe, the guy who gets Ryan Williams the ball, the guy who has as many rushing touchdowns basically as Dylan Sampson. I mean, that's what this guy is. He's a runner who can also get the ball deep. How do you defend this guy? Because, Kevin, I'm guessing you're better playing zone. You want to play zone. I mean, you want to play man. Sorry, better playing man.
Yeah,
you want to play man. Yeah, you're better playing man. But you're going to need to play zone, is my guess, or else Jalen Milroe is going to take off and run on you all day. So in trying to defend him, do you go to zone, which makes it easier to throw on? What do you think they wind up doing?
So, I mean, obviously, so it's going to be a steady diet, single high safety. You're going to try to create 8-man boxes as best you can. But to your point, if we're playing man coverage, you guys think about it. If I'm running with Ollie Lane, he's a receiver, and the quarterback's back behind me, he takes off. Whoa, a lot of green grass to run on. So we'll play more zone. Unfortunately, our guys don't play zone as well. Got a lot of young pieces in secondary. You can pick it apart a little bit. But they're going to play zone so they can have eyes in the backfield. So if he pulls the ball down to take off, we can try to get this guy on the ground.
Thoughts on how you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Milroe, he can kill you both with his legs and his arm. I think they're going to have to be ready for a lot of quarterback design runs for him to get out. And like you were saying, they're going to have to keep some presence and awareness of what he's doing in the backfield, because he could take off at any minute, and that's going to create a lot of issues for us. And it's going to be extra important for this D-line to be able to keep contained on him to allow us to get into coverages that work better for us.
Yeah, and on the Ryan Williams thing, well, let me first say this about Milroe. I went and looked it up this week. I thought, well, does he like to run right? You know, like a guy like Josh Allen loves to run to his right, so keep him from going right. So, okay, does he go right? Does he go left? His numbers are perfectly balanced. I mean, he goes left as much as he goes right. Yardage-wise, it's balanced. Touchdowns, it's like 6 one way, 5 the other, which makes him more difficult to sit there and to defend. There isn't one, oh, he likes to do this. No, he's pretty good doing everything.
Yeah, he's really the Lamar Jackson of college football.
Yeah. And then you've got Ryan Williams, who, you know, if you told me you could go man, I am really big on Trevon McCoy. You talk about a guy that earned his NIL money. I mean, he's looked good so far. But how do you shut down a guy, especially if you're in zone? How do you shut down a guy like Ryan Williams? How are you facing
so therein lies the conflict, because it's hard to get a double on him when we're trying to load the box, right? You can get a double on him with two safeties, but I would just tell the one, say, hey, just shade it over to his side, because at some point in time, especially when he only had 4 catches last week, you hate to be the next team up, because guess what? They're going to make it an emphasis to get Ryan Williams the ball. This guy's as electric as any offensive player in college football. You know, I hope the guys got their Wheaties.
Yeah, I mean, this Alabama offense, we're looking at the last couple of weeks like, well, they only scored 35 against Vandy. They only scored 27 against South Carolina. You're struggling to get to 20 yourself. So when you're looking at them saying they're struggling, they got weapons. I mean, this Alabama team, I was looking this week, and who knows about these rankings. They change from week to week. But they had the top 25 players in college football so far this year. In that top 25, you had Alabama quarterback, Alabama receiver, Alabama offensive tackle. I don't know that Kalen DeBoer is doing everything he wants to do with his system right now, but they have the tools to put up a lot of points and a lot of yards on you. So, just thoughts on Alabama?
Yeah, so like Alabama's had more issues defensively this year than what we've seen in a mighty long time. The offense looks good, but like South Carolina, they understood a good defense, or the best defense, is a good offense. Keep them guys on the sideline. They possessed the ball and kept Milroe on the sideline, so kept them from scoring points.
We'll talk about that the next time we're here. But come on back, and what we'll do is we'll go out to the Wise Guys. They're going to be over at the Games and Things Arena. They'll give you a preview of the game using some prop bets. Come on back on Sports Source Saturday Kickoff.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like Hurricane deck boats. Perfecting fun on the water for more than 45 years with innovative and incredibly versatile designs. Experience freedom, laughter, and adventure on the water with Hurricane. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
I see Marco's role in the community as somebody that people can look up to.
Marcos Garza is very thoughtful. He pays attention to the needs of the people in the community.
He's somebody that's very unselfish, somebody that's going to always be there.
Marcos Garza will work as hard as he can to get the best results for you.
In the future, no matter where I'm playing, no matter what the team I'm playing for, I'll always be on Garza's team.
The Garza Law Firm is Mama Zizi approved.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville. The Vols are off to a hot start, so we're rolling out the hottest deals of the year. You could score a 2025 Kia Sportage for $249 a month, or you could drive home a 2024 Kia Sorento for $267 a month. Are you looking to go bigger? You could ride high in style in a 2024 Kia Telluride for $379 a month. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and make your way to Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Initially this season, it looked like the SEC might get 4, 5, maybe even 6 teams in the field, and they were stacking the top of the polls. Now it looks a little bit different. Texas, the only team in the SEC, is still undefeated, and Ole Miss, one of the other preseason favorites, already has 2 losses. The loser of Alabama-Tennessee will also have 2 losses and face a very, very narrow path into the playoff field, although they might still be able to get there. So how many teams can the SEC get? That comes down to how much faith you have in the sort of second class of the SEC this year. Georgia, still 1 loss. They've got a tough schedule the rest of the way. They've got to navigate. But LSU and Texas A&M are 2 teams sitting at the top of the SEC's polls, and they don't have a loss in conference, but they do have a loss overall. So if they take a second one, it's going to be tough for them to get in the field, but they might be able to still do it. So the SEC looked like it might stack the field initially, but now it looks like Texas and Georgia have decent paths into the playoff. Alabama and Tennessee can still play their way in, but if the SEC is going to do it, it's going to take teams like LSU, like Texas A&M, and don't count out Missouri just yet, for the SEC to really stack the SEC's participants into the playoff. Back to you, John.
Thank you, David. Welcome back to Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. Folks, if you want to make your home the envy of the neighborhood, if you want to create the perfect game room, then you need to get to Games and Things. It's the corner of Kingston Pike and Level Road. They've got everything from shuffleboard tables, dart boards. They've got boss toss, which is like a cross between cornhole and darts. They've even got Pop-A-Shot games. The professional ones like the Tennessee branded right on the side, they've got it all. And you can see all that right now, including a great poker table, in the Games and Things arena. That's where we're going with Josh Ward, Tyler Ivins, Chuck Cavaliers, and Will West for a segment we call The Wise Guys.
Thanks, John. All right, guys, we have 5 over-under type questions for today's game between Tennessee and Alabama. I'll get us started here with the first one. Over-under 9.5 first half points for Tennessee today against the Tide. Shut out in the last 2 games in the first half. Over under 9.5 points today in the first half for the Vols, Tyler Ivins.
So, of course, that means I'm going to go over because they've been shut out the last 2 games. I think that this is a perfect get-right spot. The fact that we're going to sit here today ahead of tonight's game against Alabama and say, opportunity to get right, it blows me away. I think this is a good number. I think this is 10, 14, 10.5. Yeah, I'll take the over.
opportunity to start slow, start slow. You know, I expect it to change when it changes. Back-to-back games, shutout in the first half. Maybe you get a field goal or touchdown, but not 9.5. Under.
I'm going to take the over. I honestly think Alabama has bigger problems defensively than Tennessee does offensively right now. I think they have some sincere attitude and personality problems in that locker room at Alabama. I don't know that that's getting fixed going on the road to Neyland Stadium. I think Tennessee can get 10 points or more in this first half.
I can't believe we're talking about Tennessee with a get-right opportunity against the Tide's defense. But at home, I think that is the case. Alabama's defense has struggled to get off the field on third down. That gives Tennessee a chance to get drives going here. I'll go over 9.5 points at home against Bama in the first half.
Gentlemen, Jalen Milroe is averaging 16 completions on 22 attempts per game. Nico, on the other hand, just short of 16 on just short of 23 attempts. So tonight, Milroe or Nico, Chuck, who has more completions?
I'm going to take Milroe, and some of that is the receivers they have on top of everything else, and some of that is the struggles we've seen with Nico have. And if you're handing it off to Dylan Sampson, you're probably going to have a little bit fewer completions.
I'm going to take Nico as well. I wonder if Jalen Milroe is going to finish this game. I don't know why. If you're Kalen DeBoer, why are you losing to Vanderbilt and having a close call against South Carolina at home, not running your offense because it fits Jalen Milroe? He's making bad decisions. He's screwing up all over the place. I think they'll design run Milroe a lot. Tennessee's also knocked out the last 3 quarterbacks they faced. So between the struggles with Milroe and the injuries Tennessee's caused to opposing quarterbacks, I'll take Nico.
So I'm going to take Nico. I think that both will be trying to get the ball out quickly, knowing what kind of pressure could be coming. I think Tennessee, if it is able to have more success on third down, and Alabama again struggles to get off the field, Tennessee could be running more plays. So design runs for Milroe if he's out of the game. That would certainly help Nico's number. I'll say it's close because they're both going to be throwing quick passes that they would expect complete more easily. I'll take Nico here.
I'm going to lean Jalen for this reason and this reason only. Alabama has a wide receiver. He's 17 years old.
First time I've heard that.
His name's Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
Kid can't even vote yet. No, I'm gonna take Jalen Milroe because I believe that this is a position until Tennessee shows me that they can get Nico the opportunity and separation in the wide receiver room. I'm not going to continue to bet on Nico to have a high completion percentage.
Okay, good split there. Chuck, what do you have for us?
All righty. Tennessee averages 42 points per game. Alabama averages 41.7. Over under 49.5 combined points tonight.
That is a great number. I'm going to take just over that. I think just barely over that is going to be the number. Do I think they get to like 55? No. But I think you could see a game somewhere 27-24, somewhere in that neighborhood that puts you over.
So I don't expect Bama to get to its number of what it's been able to do facing this Tennessee defense. But as we've talked about, I think Tennessee has some opportunity to break out offensively in some ways. So I think there's a chance you have to get to 28, 30 points to win this game. So I'm going to say over the 49.5. I think they get into the 50s here.
I'll give you my final score. I won't tell you who's winning. 28-24. That's barely this over. So, yeah, I think it's going to be something late that pushes this over. So if you're riding it under, you're going to be chewing your fingernails the entire game.
Yeah, really. I was just sitting here thinking 52-49. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah. I don't think we're getting
probably not getting there.
Yeah, probably not getting there.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, you should be able to get there, right? On this one, over.
Okay.
I like it. All right. Ryan Williams, who's 17, averages 3.8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Will Williams get 4 catches, 96 yards tonight?
It's tough for a 17-year-old just finding that information out. Yeah. I think he's going to hit a big explosive play. I think he'll be more involved in volume. So I'll go over on the numbers for Ryan Williams.
Mr. Bobblehead.
It's a great matchup because Jermon McCoy has been one of Tennessee's best
exactly.
players. Ricky Gibson is coming off a good game. So great matchup, but I think Williams will get his.
Josh hit it right on the head across all points. I think he has right at 4 catches, and I think it's something like 8, 4, 6, 67, or 78 in that area that's going to pop him just over that total number.
Or that one kind of ballerina catch down the sidelines that he seems to make. But he didn't have that good of a game last week against South Carolina.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. But, in this game, I think he will. I think he will do that.
If I believe Tennessee was going to blitz enough to really disrupt the passing game, I would say the under here. But I'll take the over. I also think a lot of times when he gets handed off to a safety, it goes really poorly for that safety, and I've seen Tennessee's safeties in coverage this year.
Guys, we'll go quickly on this last one. UT averages 156 rush yards in SEC play. Bama allows 126 rush yards in SEC play. Over under 135.5 rush yards for UT tonight.
Because Cam Seldon gets in the game and helps out the trio of running backs, I'll say over for the 5th consecutive week. Yes, over.
I would almost take Dylan Sampson on this.
Yeah.
Just give him some help. Just give Dylan Sampson some help.
Yeah.
This goes over.
Yeah, I think it goes over as well, frankly, about 15, 20 yards.
Okay, I'll avoid the jinx. I'll say under, more involvement in the passing game with the running backs, and Nico gets going somewhat. So I'll keep the jinx from happening. As Tennessee gets ready for Alabama, Kevin and Ollie will look at how Tennessee can attack Alabama coming up next.
Whether you're watching the big game or your favorite movie, Games and Things is your ticket to the best seat in the house. It's time to get rid of that old, worn-out recliner and replace it with home theater seating from Games and Things. We offer the largest selection of quality seats at the best price in East Tennessee. With an endless variety of styles, configurations, and options, you are sure to find that perfect seat. Stop by Games and Things to upgrade your seats today at the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Online at ourgameroom.com. Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun.
Safety Systems, East Tennessee's top provider of home automation, security, and life safety systems.
Home automation.
Our expert technicians can turn your home into a smart home, allowing you to control and monitor everything from lighting and climate to entertainment systems, security systems, and even appliances, all from your phone or tablet. Upgrade your home with a single phone call to Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in home automation for more than 20 years.
Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he became an agent to make sure someone is fighting for you. Shop insurance now. See how Chris can give you peace of mind and save you some money. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
From works of art to family photos, enhance the beauty and protect your memories with custom frames, museum-quality glass, and guaranteed craftsmanship. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville. You hear lots of offers with insane prices, unbelievable trade-in promotions, and crazy gimmicks. But aren't you tired of all that noise? Look, at Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, our message is simple. We'll beat any dealership's price on any new Kia, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, period. If you don't buy your new Kia on Callahan Drive, you'll pay too much. Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
All right, Captain's Corner this week, it's the third Saturday in October. This is what you dream about when you're a kid. This is what you dream about when you get to play football. These are the environments, the atmosphere. This is what it's all about. So what do? What do your leaders do? It's your vocal leaders that need to step forward. There's been some words, some things said about, the offense isn't doing good, the defense is doing well, but you're not clicking at the same time. Doesn't matter. Vocal leaders step up and say, I got you back no matter what happens. We're going to carry this through. We're going to make mistakes, but we're going to make mistakes going 100%. Your vocal leaders in the locker room are the ones that are going to tell you what it's going to be like when you win the game. Not what it can be like or what it could be like, but what it will be like. Those are the kind of people that lead vocally in the locker room, carry it onto the field, and then everybody follows. This is going to be a team effort. This is going to be something where everybody groups together, and man, what a great atmosphere it's going to be. Again, this is why you play football. This is why you want to go to Tennessee. John, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Welcome back into Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. This segment brought to you by the Garza Law Firm. Folks, if you ever find yourself in need of an attorney, find yourself a local attorney. Guess who a local attorney is? That would be Marcos Garza and his whole team at the Garza Law Firm. You see a lot of ads on television for people who want to make you think that they're local. Do your research, and you'll find that a lot of those are based in Birmingham and Memphis. There's a reason you don't see them in their commercials standing under the sun sphere. They're somewhere else. Get a local attorney. Get Marcos Garza, Garza Law. All right. We call this segment What's the Game Plan? And today I want to talk about Tennessee's offensive game plan. You said in that last segment when we were here that best way to keep them in check is to keep them off the field, get your own offense going. Your offense hasn't been going, but they don't have a great run defense this year. They've been burned by quarterback runs, maybe add a few of those. They've been burned by shovel passes this year. The last couple of games, they've been burned by a couple of shovel passes, something you showed a lot of at NC State. Maybe throw those in, maybe roll the pocket. What do you do here? Your weapon is Dylan Sampson so far. They've got some struggles on defense. Give me a plan for getting Tennessee's offense on track today.
Yeah, so the one thing you've been able to do is to hang your hat on is Dylan Sampson. So keep that rolling. Definitely with the QB runs, I think we got to get Nico involved. Yeah, I felt like they went away from it with the fumbled exchange on that first drive. Nico's about to pull it. We never saw it again. Yeah. So we got to get the zone read going, got to get the QB power, QB draw, go five, whatever it is. His legs need to be a factor of the
multiple
offense.
times.
No doubt. And then I like the wrinkles, spreading them out of the pocket, more QB-friendly throws to where, like Squirrel White, they're presenting their numbers back just to get them in a rhythm, especially early in the game, so he can get settled in. But I think, that's probably the best way to go about it to attack this Alabama defense.
It's kind of what basically cut down the field he's having to read. The way that Lane Kiffin did for Jonathan Crompton, that got him kind of turned around when he'd lost his confidence. Roll him out a lot. Just cut down the number of reads you're having to make. Your thoughts, Ollie, on this Alabama team? You've been over there the last few years as they went against Nick Saban. Do you think there's anything that's going to carry over in terms of what they try to do against Alabama, or the fact that you've changed coaches? Like, nope, totally different.
I mean, your players are somewhat the same, but I think as scheme-wise, a lot of the big emphasis is when new coaches come in, they want to run what they've done in the past, and I'm sure that's what he's been trying to do. Obviously, he hasn't been able to do it fully with his offense yet, get it enrolled, but I think defensively, there's not going to be a ton of crossover from last year to this year. I mean, maybe some formations and looks that you might see that look similar to last year, but I mean, basically, you're planning for a whole new defensive look, and the fact is, I mean, you don't know if they're to a point yet in their season, if they want to try something new and pull out the fancy defense that everybody likes to play against us. If you would have asked me if Nick Saban would have done something like that, it's no. Nick Saban runs what Nick Saban runs. But, I mean, with these guys, you don't know how much of an important win for this is for them if they would go into something like that to change their defense to something that they know was difficult for us in the previous 3 games.
There's been a lot made this week that Josh Heupel opened up his playbook to Kalen DeBoer at one point. You also have a linebackers coach who came from Washington who knows what Kalen DeBoer likes to run. So there's that kind of crossover. Plus, they can all put on film, and you can figure out what the other guy likes to do. Any surprises in what you've seen or maybe what you expected to see from Alabama and you haven't seen it yet?
Yeah, so Kane Womack's the defensive coordinator at Alabama. Came over from South Alabama. Him and Kalen DeBoer were together in Indiana. When we played Indiana, when we went down to the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, we ran a bunch of two-trap defenses to them, got to them. Well, what Indiana did, Kane Womack was a defensive coordinator, the youngest defensive coordinator in college football at the time, ended up taking our two traps, and they had the #1 red zone defense in 2020, basically by bringing a bunch of blitz and pressure. I've expected to see him run some of that at Alabama. I haven't seen much of it yet. So we'll see if that ends up being something that, because they're going to have to do something different, especially after not being able to get off the field. Third down was not a friendly to them against South Carolina. So we'll see if he goes back to some of that. But our biggest thing is just offensively, we got to get a little something going so we can get some points on the board.
Is this as talented an Alabama defense as you've seen in the past? I mean, is there less talent there, or is this just simply their struggles are new scheme, new coach coming in there, or do you think the talent is dropped a little bit?
Yeah, so their DBs look to be about what they've had. Deontay Lawson's a quality inside linebacker. I don't know that they have 2 guys in that spot, but then up front, they're big, but they're not as physical.
No, it's not the same.
Yeah, they're not as physical, and they're not as tough to run on. Because those guys, because they're two-gapping, it used to be hard to move those guys, right? Yeah. And then everybody fits off them. There's been more space this year, so I think that's the difference. They don't play as big, they don't have the play strength that they've had in the past.
All right, very good, guys. I appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to give you 16 score predictions for tonight's game. 16. And we'll make these guys pick as well. Vols Tide, who wins? Come on back, we'll tell you.
For 4 generations, A.G. Hines Company has been a pillar of the Knoxville community. And since Albert Hines Sr. opened our doors back in 1920, we've been supplying do-it-yourselfers with revolutionary products and tools. With Nudura insulated concrete forms, your project will be both rock solid and more energy efficient than steel or wood structures. Cutting-edge materials and tools at affordable prices. That's what we've provided for more than a century at A.G. Hines Company.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like Skeeter bass boats. For more than 75 years, generations of anglers have trusted Skeeter, the best engineered boats on the water. Ensure a smooth, dry, safe trip to your favorite fishing hole. Madisonville Marine, there's no better place to buy a boat.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville. The Vols are off to a hot start, so we're rolling out the hottest deals of the year. You could score a 2025 Kia Sportage for $249 a month, or you could drive home a 2024 Kia Sorento for $267 a month. Are you looking to go bigger? You could ride high in style in a 2024 Kia Telluride for $379 a month. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and make your way to Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
From family heirlooms to sports memorabilia, protect and showcase your treasures with custom frames and shadow boxes, each with a lifetime guarantee. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
Every Sunday morning, The Sports Source brings you 90 minutes of honest, intelligent Vols coverage. More analysts, more topics, more fun. The Sports Source, Sundays at 11 on WATE TV6 and WATE.com.
Welcome back to Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. This segment is about predictions, and it's brought to you by my friend Chris Smith and Chris Smith Insurance. He's my insurance agent. He's a farmer's agent, which means you get all of those great policies that Farmers provides to protect your property, your family, everything else that you could possibly imagine. But if you don't fit with Farmers, it's like, this isn't right for me. He's got other policies because he's also an independent agent. He's a double agent. Chris Smith Insurance. He can take care of you. And this segment, we're going to take care of you when it comes to predicting the Vols versus the Tide. 16 picks in who, how, and why.
I'm going to take Alabama 27-23. I've gone back and forth on this one a little more than I thought I would. I thought a week ago Alabama would win this one more comfortably, but I think both teams are fairly evenly matched, and Alabama just maybe depends on which day you see them as far as which team you're going to get. But I think Alabama, I just have a little more trust in their offense to get it done in a close game. Jalen Milroe over Tennessee's current offense and quarterback situation to pull out a close game.
The Vols are facing another defense that struggles with the run game. Alabama is ranked 14th out of 16 teams in the SEC in run defense. Expect Dylan Sampson to run wild. I have the Vols winning this one 28-24.
All right, score prediction for Tennessee and Alabama. It's going to be close, but I think Milroe, with more experience in the big games, edges out Nico. Alabama 24, Tennessee 20.
I think we're in for a good game regardless between Tennessee and Alabama, but I'll take the Tide 35-20. Alabama has 23 rushing touchdowns on this season. They're much more explosive on offense as well, and I just think their ability to have executed on offense at a bit more of a consistent clip is why I'm taking the Tide.
I'm going to go Alabama 28-21. Tennessee hasn't thrown the ball yet for 200 yards against an SEC opponent. I don't think they're going to do it this game either, so I'm going to go Alabama.
Yeah, I have Alabama 28-27. I got to see it with the offense and getting back going. I also am concerned a little bit about Tennessee maybe playing too much zone, not wanting to go man against Jalen Milroe. In that Alabama offense could lead to a few more points than we're used to seeing, but I'll go with Alabama.
I just don't see any way that this Tennessee defense gives up 4 or more touchdowns, which is kind of what we're kicking around here. So I think Tennessee wins 23-16 with some red zone stops, and it's going to be a tussle, and somebody's going to have to make the play.
In games like these, the difference a lot of the time is who has the guy that can make the most plays with the ball in his hand. I think Alabama has that guy in Jalen Milroe. Alabama gets a little bit of revenge for the 2022 loss in Neyland and wins this game 24-20 and hands Tennessee its second loss of the season.
I've got Alabama 27-24. I think the difference is going to be Jalen Milroe versus Nico Iamaleava. I trust Tennessee's defense. I just don't trust Tennessee's offense enough to outscore the Crimson Tide.
All right, guys, prediction time. Tennessee and Alabama. I think this is the toughest game to predict so far this season, easily. I need to see more from Nico. I need to see better protection before I can go in with confidence in the Vols. I'm going to take Alabama to win a close one. I'm going to say 31-24, Bama wins.
For the third consecutive week, we have the same Tennessee number, because I'm going to take Alabama 28-24 in this game. Close late. I'll even go a little bit further later tonight. Tennessee has a ball with a chance to win the game. They can't complete it. Tennessee will have their second loss of the year, and then we got to start talking about realistic college football playoff predictions.
Debbie Downer, come on, guys. Tennessee wins 27-23. Chris Brazzell can get the ball. Watch for that to happen.
I think Bama's a bigger train wreck than Tennessee. I'm at 27-24.
Oh.
I think Tennessee wins because I think Bama, the wheels are coming off of the wagon there.
Good split.
Hey, Alabama.
Welcome back to Rusty Wallace Key on Callahan Drive. You saw everybody else's predictions. A lot of Alabama picks there. So what am I going to do? I'm taking Alabama. I'm sorry. All week I was thinking 27-24. Then I got to looking, I referenced it earlier, I was looking at some numbers this week. It's like we're talking about the struggles they've had in dropping to 35 and 27 points. They typically score 40. They got a lot of weapons on that offense. Your defense has been having to hang on by itself, and it's done a great job. At some point, maybe with Peely out, I'm afraid that you're not going to be able just to be a one-sided team. I think your defense is probably going to break at some point if the offense doesn't help them out, maybe this week. 34-24 Alabama. What are you doing, Kevin?
Yeah, so 31-23 Alabama. I just don't think we have enough offense, and then the quarterback runs, they scare me, especially when we're going to be in zone. So yeah, I think that they're going to make a few too many plays offensively to our ability to make plays on offense.
I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed.
Where's
the faith?
I'm sorry.
Here we go. I've got the Vols winning 31-28. I think it's going to be a tight game, but if you ask me, it's looking 50-50. But we've got the advantage. We're in Neyland Stadium. The fans are going to be loud. It's third Saturday in October. We're going to be fired up, and I'm ready to smoke a cigar. So,
there you go.
Yeah. How much fun was that 2 years ago? Because
Oh, I
you were
mean,
on that team.
it was.
Was that the high point of your entire
Oh
career?
yeah, I mean, I think if I look back at my entire time at the University of Tennessee, that night in itself was just like incredible. I mean, you can't add that experience up with anything. Within 2 seconds, you're looking around the stadium, and then the stadium's all on top of you. Yeah, it's insane.
Good deal. Ollie Lane, Kevin Simon, thanks every week. I appreciate you guys being here. I want to say thanks to Rusty Wallace Kia. These guys just do a tremendous job. Get down here, see Jake Bull, see my buddy James Gordon. Come shake hands with Dr. Fred. There's tons of people down here. Get you a great deal on a Kia, and boy, they are good cars. And we will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. on the Sports Source right here. We'll break down the Tennessee-Alabama game with the whole crew. See you then.